Psalm 72, 8 through 11 says, "May he rule also the sea to sea and from river to the ends of the earth, and let the nomads of the desert bow before him, and his enemies lick the dust. And let the kings of Tarshish and the islands bring presents, the kings of Sheba and Seba offer gifts, and let all things bow down before him, and all nations serve him." Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 6-month reading plan through the book of Psalms, today's reading is Psalm 72, and I encourage you to read that psalm. Well, this is a very interesting psalm because it's a messianic psalm. In the near sense of prophecy, it represents a prayer that David had about Solomon. But in the far sense, it clearly is a psalm about Christ. Now, as I write this devotion, the world seems to be gripped in a type of flu virus that's invaded a significant number of countries. People seem more afraid about this virus than even some of the more contagious viruses that have come before it, such as Ebola in the early 2000s. And while this virus is dangerous to the very young and to the very old, it's not nearly as dangerous as some of the other plagues that have invaded mankind, even during the Middle Ages. So I think we need to reflect a little bit on how God is in control. This psalm clearly teaches that it is God through Christ who will deliver to the needy when he cries for help. He will minister to the afflicted and to him who has no helper. And we need to reach out to God and pray for our deliverance. Now, I'm not suggesting that we don't use what we know about science to help control the virus, but I am suggesting something that might help us and calm our fears. If something is true, then it's God's truth. What scientists discover about this virus and how to eradicate it, or at least how to mitigate it in some way, comes from the wisdom that God has given us. Now, the modern Greeks have a saying, and it's translated like this: keep your mind. We as believers do not have to fear something. We as believers have to trust that God is in control, and we need to keep our minds. It is we who are believers that can help the world become less fearful, because we can show them how to live with caution through Christ rather than living with fear without Christ. We can show them by our lives how to minister to those who are in need and not fear for our own lives. We can show them that the service is through prayer and the giving of our lives to others. Now is the time to repent. And I don't mean from sin. I mean it's the time to change our minds about how we live for Christ and how we serve others. Now, this virus will come and go. How we approach our lives and living through Christ is essential. This truth will last much longer than the contagion. And if you would like a PDF copy of this entire reading plan, please send an email to phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.